value from success, growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association in British Columbia. His website, icba.ca. Welcome back to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Jordan, we're in the middle of an election campaign in BC that most people, apart from the NDP premier, say wasn't needed now. We do have a fixed election date, but somehow that wasn't good enough anymore. What are you hearing out there, and what would you like to see?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, John Horgan put his job ahead of everyone else's in the province. Very selfish election call in the middle of a pandemic at a time where there was a stable governing agreement with the Green Party and, an election not planned for October 2021, which, looks like we may have a vaccine by then. So could have been safe and sound and into the post-pandemic recovery, but nope. John Horgan put his job in front of everyone else's and certainly in front of everyone's health and sent us to the polls. I think this campaign has been underwhelming to the public. I don't think the public really cares much about this issue right now, about the election right now, simply because COVID consumes so much of our everyday life and thoughts. And, when there's a major public health issue like this, it naturally takes up a lot of people's brain space, energy, thoughts, all of that. So, this has been really rough for, the candidates to get press. The media haven't enjoyed covering it. The leaders don't look like they're having much fun. They're, reduced to Zoom calls and very small scale events. But, you don't like it, pin it on John Horgan. He's the one who's making us do it.
Well, also, hundreds of thousands of people now have applied for, and many have received mail-in ballots. That means we won't know the election result for weeks because they count those 2 weeks after the election to keep people from voting twice.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They don't start counting until 2 weeks after the election. So the election final day to vote is Saturday, October 24th. That means, 14 days after that is Saturday, November 7th. Can't imagine Elections BC is going to be in there counting Saturday and Sunday. Maybe they will, but seems unlikely. So they'll start Monday, I guess. Then they have Remembrance Day in the middle of that. So are they going to count on Remembrance Day? I'm not sure they will. But yeah, you're talking about mid to late November before you know who actually won this election. That is not good. Like, we're already going 5 weeks, thanks to John Horgan's very selfish election call, 5 weeks without a proper Minister of Health, at a time where we're in triple digits every day as far as new COVID numbers, and schools are experiencing exposures at quite a significant rate. So, John Horgan literally took the provincial government's eye off the ball here. There was a much more important thing to do. You watch Adrian Dix, tweeting out every once in a while on these COVID issues, and you just think to yourself, man, like, what must he be thinking? He should be, he gave his, they gave the last 7 months of his life to, managing this file day after day after day, and all of a sudden, he's kind of on the sidelines. That is not where we want a health minister to be.
The federal government hasn't had a budget for almost a record amount of time. Does that hurt making long-distance plans for the construction industry?
Well, it hurts every industry. What's even more concerning is now we've already seen one credit downgrade by the big agencies. Now we're hearing that there might be a second, simply because no plan has been articulated by the Trudeau government as to how they plan to pay back the money they're borrowing at record rates. And, not providing any assurance. So if it gets more and more expensive to borrow money, that's going to drive the value of our dollar down, which is going to further hurt our economy. So, those federal politicians, they need to get on it, actually get a budget going, and tell the people of Canada how and where they're spending our money and what their plan is to help this economy pull itself out of the ditch we're in.
Does it seem governments everywhere are more and more inclined to rule by decree than rather through debate in an open elected house?
I can't speak for governments everywhere, but in Canada, certainly, even in a minority situation, you have Justin Trudeau cutting little side deals with Jagmeet Singh and the NDP. We've just seen, we're in the middle of a provincial election here in BC that's brought on simply because John Horgan's tired of having to talk to, 2 or 3 Green Caucus members. He just wants absolute power with a majority government. So yeah, it's certainly in our local context, that is, this is happening. So yeah, the concentration of power is not good. You want to see open and honest debate. Committees get shut down federally. There's a lot of political games being played these days.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications, patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Avin Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avin's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avinresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, the provincial NDP in BC says they want to put $1,000 in everybody's checking account. The Liberals are saying they would eliminate the provincial sales tax for a year and then only bring back half of it for the next year to help the recovery. What do you think is going to be more effective to get things going?
Well, to get the economy going, it will be the PST cut. But I have to correct you on one thing. John Horgan is not giving $1,000 to every British Columbian. Only in households making less than $125,000 a year, which, sounds like a lot of money, except that you start doing the math and you say, geez, if you're a teacher or a longshoreman or a cop or a firefighter or, a professional, an accountant, and you're married to another professional, I bet you are well over the $125,000 threshold. So there isn't going to be much relief coming for those folks. Here's why the PST cut is so much more preferable to the $1,000, Horgan bucks that he's promising. PST cut actually stimulates the economy and helps not only every British Columbian, no matter what income level you're at, but also every business in British Columbia, every employer in British Columbia, and every local government in British Columbia. So, PST cut will save people money. Provincial sales tax is a regressive tax. Even the left-wing economists admit that, which means as a percentage of their income, poor people pay more than wealthier people. So while wealthy people may save more raw dollars by percentage, the poorer people will do much better as far as savings go. And if you're a family making about $90,000 a year, you're going to save about $950, so almost identical to what you would get with Horgan bucks. But here's where the PST cut makes a lot more sense. By getting rid of PST for a year, you take a lot of marginal investment decisions as far as housing starts, other projects, other big purchases. You take that 7%, making them 7% cheaper, that will be the tipping point to get a lot of those projects going. And what we're seeing in construction right now out there is a lot of private owners and governments, frankly, waiting. They're waiting because they don't know what's going to happen next economically. They don't know if they want to commit to another project to build, just because they just don't know. They just don't know what the outcome is going to be, what the world is going to be like economically. But if you suddenly make those projects 7% cheaper, the marginal ones can start going forward, and you'll see more housing starts. You'll see more investment. You'll see more equipment being bought by these small businesses. You'll see more, just more investment. It also helps local governments, and this is something that we haven't talked a lot. For local governments, they pay the PST as well. And, so they pay it on the services and materials that they use to build things. So if you can give them a bit of a tax break, that helps them reallocate more funds to programs and services and infrastructure, which then extends their dollar a little further. And again, gets more money going in the economy. So yeah, $1,000 sounds great. Give me my Horgan bucks. Let's go. But a PST cut actually saves you roughly the same amount of money and does a lot more to get the economy off its knees.
The Liberals are promising to privatize ICBC. Would that be a good move for the construction industry?
Well, I don't think they're promising to privatize. I think they're promising to open it to competition. And those are two very different things. Competition needs to come into the auto insurance market. Look, in the 1970s, car insurance was brought in by Davy Barrett because British Columbian drivers were being gouged by private companies. A lot has changed since then. We have seen in many other jurisdictions across Canada and the United States that a tightly regulated insurance market where you actually have competition can save people a lot of money over a public monopoly. Public monopolies are not efficient. They don't spend money smartly. They have no competition, so they become bloated. And certainly we've seen how bad ICBC has been under SOCRED, NDP, and BC Liberal governments. It's never been very it has never been terribly well run. So, by opening it up to competition, you do a few things. Number one, you force prices to be fair. Second of all, you allow bundling of different services. In most other jurisdictions around North America, you can bundle your car insurance and your life insurance and your home insurance and get a cheaper rate because you're insuring everything. Not here in BC. You can only do your car insurance through ICBC, and they don't sell other products. So yeah, I say open it up to competition, drive the price down. And then, let's see where we're at in 5 to 10 years. It's better than what David Eby has been doing with, ICBC, which is ratcheting up rates on young drivers so high that, they're paying $6,000 a year for a $5,000 vehicle. That's not fair and doesn't make sense.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, the BC hotel and tourism industry still hard pressed along with restaurants. Are they getting enough help from all the various levels of government?
No. It's a flat-out no. And here's even worse. We discovered this week, thanks to the work of Justine Hunter reporting for the Globe and Mail, that whatever provincial money's been promised, which was about less than 1/6 of what the tourism industry in BC asked for, it's being held up because there's been an election call and the bureaucrats can't spend the money, can't get the money out the door to help businesses. So no, it's not good enough. And two things need to happen. Number one, there's the immediate, how do we help these tourism operators survive what's happening right now? And the second is, how do we make sure that the day there's a vaccine and travel becomes possible again, that we have, marketing plans, capacity, all these important little points, so immediately BC can open to the public, open to the broader public and to tourism at large. Because there'll be a race for tourism dollars once, we're allowed to travel again. Even if only, a small percentage of people feel comfortable traveling in those first few months or years of a vaccine, the competition for those dollars is going to be fierce. So let's make sure we're ready with a plan, marketing, all the stuff we need, positioning our brand as British Columbia so that we get these folks back here as quickly as possible and get money into our tourism operators' pockets.
How are things looking for the construction industry next year?
It's nervous times. A lot of companies are coming to the ends of their 2020 order books. 2021, we're not seeing a lot of project owners rush ahead with projects. They're waiting to see what happens with the economy. Housing starts are slowing. There's a lot of question about what the next big projects will be. And, we're entering into a time where, if the NDP win power, their platform is very skewed towards their union donors and supporters, and cuts out 85% of the construction industry that's not aligned with those building trades unions. So there's a lot of nervousness right now in construction. I don't think that's by any means the only industry where there's a lot of nervousness, but, they do not like where this is headed, and that's why so many of them have come out in favor of that PST cut, because they see the value of getting projects going again.
So 85% of construction workers and their companies wouldn't be allowed to take part in major government projects in BC?
Yeah, that's exactly the NDP promise. So the NDP has what's called a community benefits agreement. That's a nice way of saying union monopoly, and they sole source that work to the building trades unions. And there's 19 of them. That leaves out all of the open shop non-union progressive unions like QUAC, even some locals of other trades unions. Like, they're all left out in the cold because, in order to work on those projects, you must be a member of one of those 19 unions. And, thanks to the fact that they were a minority government and the advocacy of ICBA, VRCA, BC Construction Association, a number of other construction associations and unions, we were able to hold them to basically 3 projects this term that were going to be done that way, Patello and the 2 SkyTrains extensions. But now, in their platform document, the NDP have said, if we get a majority, we're expanding that to all of our economic renewal projects, which means they're actually going to, say no to 85% of the industry and sole source billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer work to 19 building trades unions. That's going to drive the price way up. Right now, we think that these projects run about 25 to 30% over what they should cost if it went to fair open bidding. If labor becomes even tighter and they expand it to all these projects, that number could be more like 40 to 50%, which means less value for taxpayers at a time where we need to be maximizing every dollar that government's spending.
The Massey tunnel replacement, talk about a very expensive song and dance. The BC Liberals had spent, $100 million to pre-prep a large bridge. The NDP canceled that, saying they want to go with a tunnel that won't improve traffic flow at all. And so how long before they get a decent way to get between Delta and Richmond?
Well, if the NDP are reelected, it's going to be another 7 or 8 years. They walked away from a 10-lane bridge proposal that had all of the necessary approvals, both from the environmental assessment groups, from the provincial government and from the federal government, and importantly from Indigenous First Nations in the area. Now, the NDP want a tunnel. The Indigenous, the First Nations band there said they're not interested in a tunnel because it's worse for salmon. They like the bridge idea. So it's all locked up again in these studies and this delay and defer and nonsense. The NDP MLA for North Delta, Ravi Kalon, was out there trying to spin this as like, oh no, don't trust the BC Liberals when they say they're going to build a bridge right away. That's just going to delay our wonderful project. There is no wonderful project. These guys have done nothing except cancel the bridge and leave the whole project in limbo. They've done absolutely nothing to advance Massey Tunnel in 3.5 years. And in fact, the BC Liberal bridge that was announced would be 2/3 built by now and would be, and was coming in at $900 million under its $3.5 billion budget. So they flushed $100 million, the NDP did, when they canceled this project, and they flushed a bid that was $900 million under budget as well. So this is really a $1 billion mistake by John Horgan.
Jordan, anything else we should be paying attention to right now you'd like to bring to our attention?
Just one last little bit. The BC Liberals have also proposed a small business tax cut. Right now, small businesses are taxed at about 2%. This is $220 million of taxes that small businesses pay. I like the idea. Let's cut it down from 2% to 0. That's where it was before the NDP came in and increased it. By cutting that tax, you're giving small businesses a little bit more money to deal with the tax deferral cliff that they're facing now. And it gives them a chance to hopefully hold on to some employees and just try to keep their head above water at a time when small businesses are just being dragged down by the COVID current.
Also, the Trudeau government plans to ban plastic that's mostly used for takeout food. What's that going to do to small restaurant owners who may have a large storage facility full of that? Because they haven't been doing that much business lately.
Yeah, well, hopefully they give time to grandfather. I think the ban on these single-use plastics is really stupid, to be honest, Jim. Like, 0.4% of the plastic in the world is caused by Canada. We're just coming through a time where we weren't allowed to use cloth bags at grocery stores because of the pandemic. We all had to switch back to plastic bags. Like, it's one thing to educate people to make better decisions and whatnot. That's fine. But just to, ban something simply out of virtue signaling, I don't like it, and I think it's a silly thing by the government.
Oh, it's like Canada's generation of greenhouse gases, less than 2% of the world's total, and we live in the world's coldest country. The two just don't seem to be combined very well at all.
Yeah, it's like taking a bucket of water out of a swimming pool, right? Like, it makes no difference. And all you're doing is costing our folks a whole lot more. And, I know that there's all these proud, Canada needs to be a leader. China doesn't care what Canada does on this file. America doesn't care what Canada does on this file. The G8 doesn't care. Russia doesn't care. India doesn't care. So let's just shut up. That's such a fallacious argument, Jim. It drives me crazy. We consistently shred our own economy for no other reason than to pretend we have some sort of moral authority in the world, a moral authority that simply does not exist.
All the world knows about Canada is Canadian bacon and hockey.
Woo! Well, it's our proudest export.
You got it. And probably the best sport in the world.
Yeah,
Jordan,
I enjoy it.
Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us. By the way, you can tell the difference between a Canadian and an American right away. What does a Canadian call that sport where they knock a little black disc around?
Religion. No, hockey, of course. And they call it ice hockey.
Ice hockey. And they say ice skating and ice rinks. We just say rink and skating.
Yep.
So there's a tip for anybody around the world. Just ask somebody that if you're not sure if they're a Canadian or an American, but you're too embarrassed to ask if they are or not. Of course, a Canadian can always spot a Canadian. Americans can't. That's another truth. Again, Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. If you have any questions for Jordan or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter at Talk Digital Net. I'm Jim Goddard. You can also find us on Facebook.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.